all this like uncertainty, and they have to make those decisions. And that's what brings in, like, we talk about the masculine and the feminine energy, which they're just energies, but then you got to live on both. And right, it's like you can't, and that's what brings up a lot of frustration. It brings a lot of resentment and anger and all this stuff between relationships. This is Vivian Velasquez.
And this is Raul Velasquez.
Welcome to the God, Money, and Purpose podcast.
Welcome to the God, Money, and Purpose podcast. My name is Raul Velasquez, and I'm here with my beautiful co-host,
Vivian Velasquez.
Welcome to the podcast for today.
I know, I missed you last week.
Seems like a long time.
We missed it last week because you were doing your event. And
we had the mastermind, and we try to sneak it in. We try to put it together, but
it was just going to be too much.
It just reminds me, every time I try to do everything, your voice in my mind is always saying, Raul, you could do anything,
but you can't do everything.
And I think that as men, we are overachievers, and we try to get everything in there. And
not just men, I think it's also women too, because I had all the desire to come and to like film and to do something myself, but it was just like pushing something that's not going to happen. And when you go against the timing of things, and it's like, then it's kind of like you get in your own way. So then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna let Raul have his time. I miss everyone dearly. Yes, I wish I could be there and have the content and answer questions or just speak my mind. But at the same time, it's like, okay, well, we have to honor the time and be fully present to what's happening in front of us. And for you, it was an amazing event with all the men that came together after Corona. It's like, you have to be present. You have to take care of yourself. You have to take care of the time. You have to take care of the men. It was just too much. So we're here today.
I love the fact that you text me and said, just do you. Like, just be okay. And I think a lot of us, we feel guilty sometimes that we've had so many commitments, and we don't get to do everything. And even though I get to do 90% of the things that I put my mind to, that 10% gives us that guilt and shame. And one of the things that I tell my clients is that guilt and shame is poison for our soul. So we have to have attainable outcomes, attainable goals. And if we have 100 things that we have in a to-do list, it's not attainable. It's not doable. Yeah. And I called myself because I wanted to do the mastermind. I wanted to film a video. I wanted to do all these things. I wanted to do a podcast.
And it was on Thursday, so I'm sure you wanted to be with me and have
I went to the date night. So I wanted to put everything together.
Yeah. So yes. And we had to catch ourselves.
And I think I told you when that day that we started the mastermind was Thursday, and I came to the hotel, and I was triggered because the hotel wasn't ready. We didn't have the tables were set up, but there was no linens, and we were expecting about 14 people for the board meeting. Actually, no, it was a handful of guys for the board meeting, and about 14 people for the mastermind the next day.
Right.
But I asked the team. I said, what? Don't worry about the linens. Don't worry about having a classroom style. Yeah. Just I need 4 chairs. It's gonna be a handful of guys. We're just gonna talk for a couple hours.
Yeah.
But when I got to the hotel, the tables were set up, but there were no linens in the tables, and it looked like a shit show. So I called the manager. He wasn't around. I called my team. They weren't around because they were busy doing other things. So I had 2 choices. I either bitch and complain, and I try to hold in that energy of frustration, or I get shit done. So what I did is I picked up the tables and I just put it in the back, and I looked like a fucking maniac putting all that shit in the back, and I took like 10 tables into the back room and all the chairs, and I just put, the couches that I wanted, and we got it done. And it's reminded me that energy has to be moved. Like, it's frustration, anger, resentment, everything. That's all energy. And if you don't move that energy, it gets stuck somewhere, and it creates a story.
And then it gets stuck somewhere, or someone comes in front of you, and they take all of that when your spouse, your kids, an employee, someone comes in front of you, then they take that energy that you did not move, that you did not feel completely, then the other person gets the short end of the stick.
Yeah. So bottom line, if you're watching this, you listen to this, thank you for being patient. We missed a couple of weeks. Yes. We wanted to give you the content, wanted to give you value, but we also have to honor commitments that we're not gonna be able to do everything. We could do anything, we can't do everything.
And I love that about you, when you have the that saying that you have in one of your t-shirts is like adapt, adjust, and execute. And not just your t-shirt. I think like a lot of the times when I talk about my women, it's like we could say, we could learn, we could see a lot of things, but we're not implementing these things into our lives. And it's then it's almost meaningless, I want to say, because we can learn all this stuff, but we're not making any changes in our own life. If we're not having this emotional intelligence to really go through that, then what, like, we have to have some sort of evolution in an everyday basis, even if it's something small. So I really want to honor you for that, because it's something that we really are learning to grow. And if you're listening for the first time, Raul and I are in a loving relationship now, but it hasn't always been like this. And I think the reason why we come into this podcast and we want to pour our hearts out is because our relationship wasn't always perfect. And not to say that today it is, but it's in such a better place. And it's only because we've implemented all these things and we've actually taken the time to change day by day. And we're not changing. We're not pointing the finger and changing each other. We're changing ourselves.
And it's a everyday grind.
Yes.
And it's an everyday work.
Yes.
Right now, for example, before we started the podcast, we had my son and his cousins were doing a podcast here.
It's so amazing.
And it's
So
and
cute to watch
it's
them.
just great to see that the evolution of being a creator, not just being a businessman or a businesswoman, is being a creator and to be able to impact other people so they could follow you in your footsteps, so you could follow in your example. Not to say that your kids have to have a podcast or have to be creators. It's just follow the principles.
Yeah.
Follow the principles of success. And I was overhearing the interview that we did with his cousins, and they said, I asked him if you had $1 million, and no, actually no, I asked him first was if you like what drives you, what gets you motivated as a kid, right? What gets you going? What do you like to hustle? Because we interviewed the two kids who are two young entrepreneurs at 14 and 15 years
they're
old.
so
They're
adorable.
hustling, selling sneakers, and one of them is into stocks.
Amazing.
And one of them said, I want to grow up and I want to have nice things. I want to have a pool. I want to watch the sunset with my kids. I want to do all these things. And in my mind, I was picturing what he sees in us. Like I was picturing the lifestyle that we have and what we exude.
The
and I think the example
Yeah.
is,
What they see.
you might be the only, I heard somebody say, you might be the only Bible that somebody ever reads. Your
Yeah.
life may be the only Bible that somebody ever reads. And with that is the intention of, like, we're not perfect, but we're working every single day to make sure we're making shit happen. Every
That's
single
right.
day is like we're putting in the work. And today's no different because we're in the middle of a storm here in the Northeast. And the other day, Vivian
Can't
and
catch a
I
break.
I think you were in a coaching call, and I was in a coaching call. And we were in a house because we still have the quarantine thing going on here in Connecticut. And I was in the middle of the coaching call, and I heard you screaming, and I heard our daughter Abigail screaming. And what did you say?
The whole tree fell in front of our eyes and into our pool area.
And I
That
heard
was
the big sound. It was like a
Thump.
big thump, right?
Yeah.
And I came outside, and it was raining, and it was pouring, and it was like a
Y-
whole hurricane
and
comes out.
the funny thing about this is that especially I don't look at the news. I don't look at the forecast. I just go with the flow. On the day I look at it, hopefully it's sunny. And if not, it's okay. Then, the weather doesn't really do too much on my day, right? I just go with the flow. But my daughter is so big on this, this natural disasters and all these things that are coming. She kept telling me, like, Mom, we got to put our stuff away. There's a tropical storm. There's a hurricane. There's a tornado. She was telling all these things. And I really just listened to her, but I didn't really take all this
Yeah,
information.
because she said it was going to be bad. And,
She said that plenty of times. And then when she was standing in front of the window and that tree just came down, she had this look in her eyes like, I told you so. It was a tropical storm. And it was pretty bad. Like that tree was
it was
so
one of the worst
big.
storms that we've had.
Yes,
One of the
it
worst
was-
storms.
And then I said nothing to her. It was so big. It really did a lot of damage. We are,
We're blessed that it didn't hit a house. I mean, it barely missed. It was a big
Yeah.
ass tree that fell in the
God
backyard.
is
It
always
hit the
protecting
pool.
us.
But here's what I saw. Like, I heard the thump. I went upstairs because I was downstairs in my office. I went upstairs and I saw you were freaking out. Abigail was freaking out. Alejandro was like, hey, Dad, the tree fell off. I went outside and I was on the phone call with my client.
Yeah.
I went outside and I saw it. And I said to myself, like, okay, we're safe. Like,
There's nothing we could
there's
do.
nothing I could do. I could have hung up and said, hey, let me call you back. Or I could have just, but I decided I want to stay. I don't want to let the storm or something like this take me off what I'm doing right now. So I finished the coaching with my client. And later on, I said to my clients what happened, but they were like, Raul, you didn't fucking miss a beat. Like, you were in it and then you just continue. It's if you are able to stay calm in the middle of the storm, you're going to win. You're going to be able to
Yeah.
adapt, adjust, and execute. Because right after that, the light went off.
Then it went down the hill
and
from
then
there.
it went down the hill from
Yeah.
there. We had no electricity. We had no internet. I don't care. God, I want to slow down. I want to take it easy because there was nothing we could do.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what did you learn? What did you learn from the
From the
hurricane?
storm. One, to listen to Abigail because she is so in tune with what's happening out there. And as much as like I don't want to be sucked into this energy of like what's happening out there, I also need to be more aware
Be prepared.
and
Be prepared.
prepared, because the awareness is what brings us preparation. And I think I don't really tune into that just because I'm like, I'm taking care of my household, I'm taking care of what I need to do, but there needs to be a little bit more awareness when it comes to that. And I
Mm,
think also listening to her, like,
mm,
like a lot of the times I discount what she's saying because she's so afraid of everything or that's happening at the moment, but that's part of who she is right
mm.
now. And I need to listen to that. And I think also like, like even though the storm happened, I was just, as long as we're together, I know that we're going to be fine. As long as, like I prayed. That's all I did. Like I lay down on my bed because I wasn't feeling that good. And I lay
Yeah,
down and I
yeah.
prayed. And I'm like, maybe I shouldn't be laying down. Maybe I should be like by the door waiting to go somewhere. But I'm like, where am I going to go? There's nowhere that I need to do. And if I swear I said this, like if I die right here, right now, there is nothing that I regret. There's nothing that I want to do. Or it was so funny because Abigail also, like, she went upstairs into her bedroom. She grabbed a basket and she put all the things that she wants to take with her.
Mm.
So she filled up this basket, right? And I could tell you like endless things, and they were all valuable, beautiful things. And then I kept thinking like, well, if I grabbed a basket, why would I put in there? And everything that I thought of was just like, it was not anything material, because like I would put you guys in the basket, but I know you won't fit. And if we die that moment, if the
We're
hurricane
together.
took our
Yeah, we're
house, it's like
together.
I did, and I said everything that I needed to say with you, with the kids, with my parents, with my health, with my coaching clients. Granted, there's always so much more that I want to do, but it's like God knows my heart, and it was like in such a place that I wasn't before. Just
Mm.
to compare when I got sick a couple of
I was
months
gonna say
back,
that. Yeah,
like
a couple
March, I
months
got
back we
sick.
were hit with a coronavirus, and it was a completely
Right.
different
And when
energy.
I got sick that March, like after like I was really going through this really health challenges, like there was so much that I wanted to do. There was so much that I needed to say for myself and for you and for the kids and for my parents, and like the list goes on, right? But like that day it was like a sense of peace. It's like there
Mm.
is nothing that I need to say or do, God. You know my heart. You know where I am in the walk with you. And if like you want to take me, take my kids, like so be it. We've been waiting for you for all this time. But like just go on, take us now. It was like
Make it
it was so bad. It
painless.
was so
Make it
bad.
painless.
Yeah, it was so bad. But and like it's like you just got to let the storm be. Like the storms need to pass. There is no sense of me um stressing about it, because the storm will do what it has to do.
Yeah.
And as much as it causes damage, or this one caused a lot of damage,
11,000 people with no
there's nothing I
electricity
could
just
do.
in our town. Just in our town. I just
11,000 people
imagine the
that
people who go
lost.
through the hurricanes like in the Caribbean. Like,
Yeah.
we were on Necker Island a couple of years ago,
Yeah.
and in the Virgin Islands, that last hurricane destroyed the entire island. I mean, there were
Yeah.
still like
Yeah.
houses that were completely like, the roof taken over and destroyed. Just
Yeah.
imagine, thank God that this is the worst that we've faced in a storm.
How do you feel about preparation now that we've gone through something like this? Like,
Well,
do you feel that we're prepared?
now, I was talking to one of my coaching clients who, right before the storm, we actually, the same day, we were talking about his project. And he has a project that he's just bought 160 acres in the middle of like, rural area in Pennsylvania. And he wants to build this camps. He says, Raul, in case shit hits the fan, you have a place that you could go. You have a property here. You could camp out, like the zombie apocalypse comes in and you're there, and he's
He's got
prepared.
you.
He
Yeah.
has his shit together. He's prepared. I'm thinking to myself, like, I don't think we are prepared, if a catastrophe like this happens. Like, we need to start thinking about that a little bit more. I'm going to pay more attention to what his camp does, because listen, we could never be too prepared when things like this happen. Like,
Right.
what I did, which I know what to do, is I grab my kids, grab my queen, got into the car, went to the nearest hotel downtown, booked the hotel, and that's it. And that's, and I
Yeah.
felt that's what I could do. But if the hotel goes down, if the whole town goes down, like, where do we go? Right.
Right.
But one thing that I got from this, when my son Alejandro was telling us on the way back, he goes, Dad, like, if because I said to him, right now there's no electricity, there's a blackout. It was a night that we're going to the hotel, and it's the perfect time for looters to come in, because they can't call the cops. Most of the houses are
They could do
abandoned.
anything.
They
Yeah.
could do anything. But I say, just like you said, like all the valuable things are in the car.
We're
Like
all
we're
together.
all together. Like they could go steal something from the house. Okay, it's material things. All the valuable things are in the car, which is, our kids, you and I.
Yeah.
And when we went to the hotel, our son and daughter go, this is home now. Like wherever we are is home. Where the family is home. And this morning when I went to the house to take a look at the electricity, we still have no electricity. I went to take a look at the tree. I realized that it's all the energy that we have that we make it home, because the house felt empty without all of us, obviously.
Mm,
But it's the energy,
yeah.
the welcoming energy that we have. And I think that's where a lot of people, a lot of couples struggle, because they start looking either elsewhere, or we start looking for other things to make us feel that energy. When the reality, we have to be the ones who create that space, create the energy
Oh yeah,
to be able
definitely.
to have a home.
And I've always felt that, and I always tell the women, like, I feel like women, we have such this amazing energy to like create a loving, safe environment wherever we go. Like we just create this space and sparkle this magic, and then wherever we are, it could happen, right? Like our kids feel safe, you feel happy, and we could do that anywhere. It doesn't have to be like in a house. It could be in a hotel room. It could be in a park. It could be wherever. But I think we have to be very conscious to that. As we as women, like we're able to create. We're like this amazing creators of anything and everything. But like you said, like yeah, our home is wherever we go. Like we were in the hotel for a couple of days and it just felt fine. It was they were happy, they weren't frustrated. It has a lot to do with how you feel on the inside, that you can
Yeah.
actually ooze that energy and create and give to the people around you. Because if we were to lose control, then our kids lose control, and that's just like a whole ripple effect. But
Yeah,
yeah.
and as a man, we have to be able to take charge, because you saw me. I'm like, okay, the storm is here.
Yeah.
Grab our stuff and
And
go,
go.
and that, and it's just make decisions,
Yeah.
and make it to the point that there is no question that you're certain about where you're going.
And that's I don't want to go into detail, but I know that that's something that I love so much, is to have you in my life, is because the masculine energy is what gives the certainty, is what gives like this, like I got you, nothing's going to happen because I'm right in front of you, I'm here with you. Like if it was up to us, the feminine energy is just like, oh my God, the storm is going to take me. I'm just going to fly with it. And the tiger's going to come and get me. And the tree is going to fall on me. Where am I going to go? What am I going to
The
eat?
uncertainty, the
It's like, it's
uncertainty.
just like all
Yeah,
these questions come in. And that's just the feminine energy. And I'm not making it right or wrong, but I'm just saying like the masculine energy is so direct and so like result driven. It's like you come in and just like, bam, I got you, girl.
get
I'm
in
gonna
the
take
car.
care of you.
Get in the
I'm gonna take
car.
care of you.
We're
I
gonna go
got I got
somewhere.
I got a room for you. Like I already hunt. I already have, the kill is done. And that's such a great feeling. And I was thinking about like all the single moms out there that have
Mm.
kids that have to deal with this um decision making, all this like uncertainty, and they have to make those decisions. And that's what brings in, like we talk about the masculine and the feminine energy, which they're just energies, but then you got to live on both.
Mm.
And
You can't forget about the other one.
right, it's
Yeah.
like you can't, and that's what brings up a lot of frustration. It brings a lot of resentment and anger and all this stuff between relationships,
Mm.
because you have to deal with all this energy. It's like you
And if we don't
can't.
deal with that, if you don't deal with the resentments or the situations, is there's gonna build up.
Yeah.
And this morning when I was on my way to meet the contractor, and I knew like I have a schedule. Like I need to make sure I have a schedule ready, and I have a meeting, and I was gonna go out of the way to meet the contractor. He wasn't there. He wasn't there on time. He was there 30 minutes late.
Hmm.
But in those 30 minutes, I have this mindset that I'm exactly where I need to be. Even though I'm getting frustrated, I'm asking myself like, what do I need to learn? What do I need to see? Why am I here?
Hmm.
Then I started inspecting the tree, and the tree from the outside looked amazing, looked strong, like it would look green. But the closer I got to the roots were rotten. That's the reason
Oh,
that
it
the
wasn't able to
storm
hold on.
the storm took it down, because the roots were not strong enough to
Yeah.
hold it.
Yeah.
So I said, how many times that we look good from the outside, we have fruits, and we look that we have our shit together,
It's an outside
but
adornment.
if in the inside we don't have the right foundation, and we don't have God, and we don't have purpose, we don't have connection, any storm,
Yeah.
any situation will
Brings us
will
down.
bring you down.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the main things. And I tell my clients, like, get strong, build on the foundation, work on yourself, make sure you have strong roots. So whether the economy, whether situations in marriage, even
Can't knock you
health,
down.
kicks your ass. Right now, we're in the middle of a pandemic.
Yeah.
We are gonna get our asses kicked. That is real. But if you have a strong foundation, if you're taking care of yourself, then there's gonna be fear, but it's gonna be more strength because the storms are not gonna take you down. So
Yeah, and I love that because I did a post about that when I was writing some stuff down, and I was like, everything that I went through, my roots were so grounded on Mother Earth, on God, on the universe, on who I am as a person, as a human being. So it's like, I know I'm not going anywhere, but what is this teaching me? What is the gift behind all of this? And then there's so many gifts. But if you don't have that foundation, like you're saying, then we are those trees that are just, in the wind and it could fall anytime. So I love that analogy. So, and you got to see the tree, and then we got back to the house, and the contractors came and actually took the
clean it up.
tree.
I
Like
mean, the
nothing
tree,
happened. Not like nothing happened because the tree is
it's
gone.
damaged, but it's not as bad.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's not as bad it's never as bad as we sometimes make it seem to be.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I'm learning from this. And even I told my guys at the mastermind when we came back, I said we met for the first time live after
After the
COVID.
COVID.
And a lot of us, we went through a lot of shit. Businesses have shifted, health. Some of my guys were
Everything has
were in the
shifted.
hospital. Like you and I were sick. So just looking back, and I didn't even expect some of those guys to show up. They were there, and I said
6 months later.
6 months later, yeah, 6 months later. Well, no 6 months. Yeah,
5.
5 months. We got March, April, May, June, July. Oh, like 4 months. 4 months after, over 100 days after we got together in the leadership.
So much could change.
So much things have changed, but
Yeah.
at the same time, we were grounded, we were rooted, we
Mhm.
were pushing through.
Mhm.
And every single one of them, even though they got some wounds, they got some scars, but they're stronger than ever.
Yeah.
And I think that's the theme here. And if you listen to this right now, I want to invite you to send us comment on this video. Let us know what the value that you're getting from this. Connect with us in social media and in our platforms. You're doing an amazing job putting some content on Instagram. I see it. And the women out there are searching for the same thing with me. We have the biggest last month of guys who are coming into our program because people need community. Men need to be around other men that have that mindset of having the edge. Women need to be around other women who know that they're queens. So right now we are in the middle of the storm. We're in the middle of a pandemic.
This whole year feels like it's
we
been
need
a
to
whole
be we
thing.
need to be in a community that supports each other, that supports the drive, supports the vision. Because the other alternative is be around other people who complain, who have fear, who get infected by the virus. That's one of my classes today. If you're gonna infect the virus, make sure you infect them with the virus of the edge. Like spread that edge around, because this is around like came after the mastermind, we came back and I'm on fire, I have this business going, I have my wife isn't connected with me. I said, well, you're spreading the virus of the edge.
Yeah.
You're having that energy that you're spreading around. So
Yeah. So we choose where, like what we get infected and how we affect other people. And, one of the many reasons why you and I put content together, why we're here, is because we've changed our life from little things that we do every day. And it's a choice that you get to do that too.
And it's a choice. It's a daily choice. I mean, again, we're not perfect. We're still figuring things out as we go along, but we're committed. We're committed to make sure that any storm that happens, it just makes us stronger. And whatever goes on, we're gonna learn how to have the roots deep rooted, grounded, so we continue to level up.
That's right.
So connect with us. I want to share a question. We have a question for somebody sent you. Yeah, okay. Just let's go through one question so we could
well, this is a question that I had in the Q&A that I was answering last week, and it was a very valid question that we all go through. She was just saying, like, what happens. You were talking about the art of seduction and the art of time and date night and sex night and spending time, quality time together, because that's my love language. And she was saying, like, what happens when you're practically begging your husband for alone time? Like, what happens then? After 9 years and he still hasn't given that to you. Like, what do you do then?
So,
I said to her,
you want to start first? Or you want me to go?
What I said to her was like, it's never too late to start having that alone time. Even though they've been together 9 years, 9 years is just 9 years. We've been married 20 years, and I feel like I'm just beginning our relationship, right? Like it's in such a new place. There's always seasons in the marriage that we go through. And I think it's a choice. And you need an alone time, but I also don't think that you need to beg someone for alone time. Like I know who I am, and I know that you love to spend time with me and I love to spend time with you, but that's because I know who I am today, right? So it's not like it's a burden for us to spend time together. We actually love to spend time with each other. That's one thing I would say. And another, it's like you also have to figure out that you're not doing like, imagine like if I was taking you for walks every once in a while because that's what I wanted to do.
Mm.
And I think in a relationship, we have to learn to compromise and to do fun things for each other. Oftentimes, I have to think of things that are fun for you. And we've gone to like do archery or whatever it is that you like to do. It's not really what I would choose, not my first choice, but I have to think of you too. And I think when we stop thinking of only ourselves and we start to think of the other person, then the relationship will start to grow. And then we could actually like want to spend time together, especially after 9 years.
Yeah. So I will say, like, I don't know the guy.
I
I
don't
don't
know
know her
either.
either. But
Yeah.
I think that sometimes we're asking or we're begging, like she says, and we're not clear. Because as a man, I don't know anybody for nine. If you beg it for 9 years, then that guy doesn't love you, and you're in the wrong relationship.
Yeah.
I don't,
Yeah, because guys are very direct, right?
if you tell me I need to do something, and this is how I want it, and this is what I need to do. I mean, we're just very driven by results. So either she's asking or she's begging, or like sometimes people exaggerate, like, oh, forever, you always do this, or I'll never get this. So 9 years, and I'm begging. Like, why don't you ask a direct question? Here's what I want, and I don't know. When it comes to a 9 year relationship, you shouldn't have to beg. At
No,
this at
because
this
you're
level of
already
the game,
there.
9 years, you already know you may be in a real relationship. If the guy doesn't want to spend time with you, then that means there is no love, there's a connection, there's obligation. An
Mm-hmm.
obligation without commitment creates suffering. So if you feel obligated to spend time with him, or if she feels obligated to spend time with you, or vice versa, at the end of the day, it's not love. It's just
Yeah, I was gonna say
there's no
that. Do you
commitment. There
you
is
you
no,
don't ever feel obligated to do the things that sometimes I want to do,
like I said,
right?
sometimes I feel like I'm failing because I don't want to. I'm letting you down because you're asking for time. I'm not showing up, but you see, it's a different energy because now I want to make it up. I want to spend time with you. But if you're begging me, I'm like, I'm ignoring you, or there's a disconnect. There's a deeper disconnect there
Yeah,
than what she's saying. It might be that she's not asking the right way, or she's not being direct,
that's what I said. What
and
energy are you
or
asking?
the energy also
Like,
repels, like
are you demanding?
a needy energy. I
Yeah,
mean, a man, but even at that point, it's like if I have a nagging wife, right, that's asking me,
take me out. Let's go
I
hiking.
will do
Let's
that,
go
just
play.
because I don't want to hear it anymore. So
Yeah, but that's not fun either. See, that's the thing. Like, okay, if we're gonna do
but
date night, you want to be with that
that's a
person.
delivery that a man has. Okay, there's an outcome. A man says, okay, I'm gonna do this even if it's painful because the other side is even more painful. So that's why I want to give the guy maybe a benefit of the doubt that the guy may not even know what she wants. She may be saying I want this, but then
So
it's
she,
not
I
asking for it.
what I understand from the question was like, okay, she asked so many times, she begged him. It's been 9 years, hasn't given it to him. So now she just decided to actually go out and do it herself. Like she's not gonna stay indoors. Something that she said in the reply. She's not gonna stay indoors because she wants to be
Yeah.
out. It's the
Okay.
summertime and stuff. So it's like, what do you do? What
So
do you do
so as
then?
so now as I get a little bit deeper, a little more understanding. Maybe she's a very social person. And I know a lot of couples that the woman is very social. She's like a
Wants to
butterfly,
be out
wants to
there.
be out, and the guy is like a hermit crab. Like he wants to stay home. He wants to stay home. He doesn't want to do anything. And then
Yeah.
obviously in that situation, I mean, what attracted them in the first place? you know,
Opposites.
so opposites attract. So there has to be some compromise where she understands what he wants and
That's what I
she
said too.
understands. I mean, he understands what she wants,
Yeah.
but I've seen a lot of couples in that situation. Really, when they are a woman would like to just be out because that's what draws her energy. That is like a beautiful flower. She wants to be seen. She wants to love. She wants to be loved. She wants to be paid attention to. Those are the
Yeah.
three things. If you get nothing out of this podcast, that woman want attention, to be
All the time.
seen, and to be loved. And the moment that you're not paying attention to her, she's gonna look for something or someone or something else to give that attention.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I also think like especially when you've been in a long-term relationship that you really have to take care of yourself because like you were saying like nobody wants to be needy and especially like if you're just pleasing the other person then it's like there's no attraction. So it's like I'm sure like you go out or for a walk or wherever you're going like the conversation that synergy is not going to be there. So
It's
Probably the
gonna
guy
take
doesn't
work.
even want to be there.
It's gonna take work. It's gonna take work. It needs to look deeper under the hood and see what's the disconnect. Why is it that they're not paying attention to each other? And there's a rooted work there that needs to be done. It's just like a tree. Maybe from the outside looks good, and the problem sometimes is not even the problem. There's a deeper problem
Yes.
there.
Yes.
So thank you. That's a great question. So if you have any questions, comment, send us a DM. What's your Instagram handle?
Mine is Vivian Velasquez.
At Vivian Velasquez.
I am plain and simple. I'm Vivian Velasquez.
She's easy. I'm a little harder. At Raul the Edge. Raul the Edge.
You are the
Send
edge.
me a DM with some questions. We'll answer the next podcast. Until then, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Facebook, follow us everywhere except for our bedroom. That's why we keep it private once we find a bedroom, because right now we're homeless. We're trying to find where we're going to stay tonight.
No, we're never homeless. We have many homes to go to.
We always have the car. We always stay in the car.
We have a car. We have family. We are so blessed and so abundant. We just have to figure out where we're going, because it's not our home, because we have no internet service. And that's a big
There's
thing.
no electricity.
Electricity or water.
There's water. There's nothing.
No water.
We have the storm is taking us out.
But as long as we have each other and we have God to guide us and protect us, we have everything.
I want to come back stronger than ever.
That's
See you
right.
until next time. Learn it, live it, experience it.
Love life.
If you receive any value from this conversation, comment, subscribe, and share as we continue to impact more people and take them to the next level.
And please send us your comments and questions so we could answer them in the next podcast.
See you in the next episode.